Terry was a very positive person. He was the person that would, it's a cliche, but he was the life of the party. He'd walk into a room and people would be happy and smile and they'd have a joke, and he lost that.
Angela Brient is describing her husband, Terry. They met when she was 16. They married and had 4 children. Terry Brient was in the Air Force. In 2016, he was posted to the Middle East, where a minor incident left him with a shattered disc in his neck.
It took them 6 weeks to diagnose the problem. And during that time, he kept saying he was in pain and they thought it was muscle pain. And it took 6 weeks to figure out it was a very serious injury and he'd lost all movement in his arm. And unfortunately for him, the living in pain for so long and the delay in getting back and the things that he would see in this headquarters, because they would show footage of military missions and stuff taking place on a big screen that they would see day in and day out, and that all together sort of messed with his head, and he started struggling with depression following that, and his surgery left him partially incapacitated.
Terry Brient loved motorbikes. This is his Harley with son Connor. But Terry would never ride them again. Nor could he work the property he and Angela had in South Australia.
He basically went from being a very fit and active guy. He was a black belt in karate. He was always doing something, to having to just sit there day in and day out. And that was hard for him. He couldn't hug the kids. It could hurt too much to hug the kids. He became a bit obsessive with a few things. He started, because he couldn't do anything, he started online gaming. And at one point, he spent over $1,000 in a week on an online game, just buying tokens, because he was so bored. And then he knew it was a bit of an addiction for him. And he actually came to me afterwards and he said, "I need you to take the passwords." He was very protective of me. We'd go to sleep at night, and I mean, we'd been married. We'd been together for about 18 years at this point, and he would hug me so tight, like lock his arms, because he just needed that connection. So it was very hard. When they told him that he was going to be medically discharged, that was also hard for him, because his whole life, 22 years he was in the Air Force. So his whole life was wrapped up in the Air Force, and for him it took also away his ability to financially support the family, because I wasn't working at the time. So it was a lot of devastating blows in a very short space of time for him.
2 months before Terry's death, Angela got a job in Kununurra. She says there was an intention that Terry and the kids would join her there. She says that by this time their marriage was struggling.
That night that he died, I'd been at work the whole day, and he rang me, and I had admitted that the relationship was hard on me and that I wasn't sure how long I could keep going and keep doing what we were doing. And he told me that he was going to kill himself. And then while I was on the phone to him, that's what he did. He was in the shed and the kids were in the house, and I wasn't there. I was across the country.
On this most beautiful stretch of coast at Dunsborough, Legacy has a holiday camp. For 90 years, the charity has been helping broken families, wives and children who could be described as collateral damage of war.
Even after Terry died, I didn't immediately think Legacy. I knew of the charity, but it had never entered my mind that it would apply to me.
So Angela Brient is now a widow with 4 children. 6 weeks after that final phone call with Terry, she was contacted by Legacy and helped move to Dunsborough. She and the kids love it. You okay now?
Yes. I don't feel guilt. I feel anger, but I don't feel guilt that this is on me.
Anger at whom?
I'll be honest, mostly anger at the Defence Force for the way that Terry, particularly in the Middle East, was treated and how long it took to get his diagnosis. Because I think that 6 weeks of living in such pain is what messed his head up. That was where it started. And after that, I think they were just behind the 8 ball for his treatment the whole way through.
With Legacy's help, Angela has made it, no question. She has guts. She has humour. For all that, in telling her story, Angela chooses to talk about Terry's death and not his suicide. Why?
Yes. I don't know why. I think it's hard to think that he killed himself because that's a choice. And I don't think he had a choice. I don't think his mental capacity allowed him a choice.